just back in the around the backyard. Just a quick video. I ain't gonna make this one long, but I just something I just want to tap and touch into, real quick, right? Why it's on my mind. Like I said, I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible, but I also want to make it brief and something that's people can understand well, right, and clear. So we talk about your insider of the occult, aka behind closed doors, and we know that sexuality and stuff like that deals into that. Now I'm not gonna go explicit and go deep into depth of anything sexual, but I do want to say this, right? Since it deals with sexuality, I want to say this. The one thing about the eighth house you gotta understand is if you have any planets or houses or signs in there, I'm sorry, if you have any planets in that house or signs in that house at all, then that lets you know that you have a little bit of influence and power in that area. If your eighth house is empty, no matter whatever element it is and sign it is, if your eighth house is empty, that means you're gonna have little to no control in that house. So you have to deal with it the best way that you can and use your other supporting elements that's either around that house that supports it, um, the signs that may angle that house, or you know what I'm saying, different ways to go about it. Are like I say all the time, using your eighth house lord, um, which is say your eighth house is empty, right? Say your eighth house is Aries, but it's empty, right? So what sign rules Aries? Mars, right? So you have to find the planet that rules the sign that your eighth house is in, if it's empty, and find what planet that rules that sign is at, and use that house that planet is at. Use that house's energy to rectify those eighth house energies, right? But back to what I was saying, basically, right? Is it doesn't matter what sign or element your eighth house is in. If it's empty, you're gonna have a harder time with the house. Why? Because your planets are not there, aka these are your influences. This is your energy. So if it's empty, that lets you know that you have little to no energy or influence in that house, either consciously or subconsciously. It's not like it's your fault. It's just meaning that you may, let's say subconsciously, right? You may subconsciously not put a lot of energy into your sexuality. You may consciously not actually like throughout your day to day put a lot of sexuality on your mind consciously, or put yourself in a situation where you do things in your sexual nature consciously, right? I mean, I'm sorry, subconsciously. Um, but once you understand this, right, you understand that there's still ways that you can rectify these energies. But here's the thing too: whatever element that your eighth house is in, it's almost near impossible to fully get a grasp, or to fully um have control of a house just by it being empty in general. But it's damn sure harder if your eighth house is empty, or any house is empty. It's gonna be harder because you already don't have that much control and influence in the house, i.e., it being empty, right? So, whatever element it is, you have to use that elemental nature. It's pretty much impossible to fully control that energy or how Aries. If your eighth house is in Aries, then that lets you know that your sexuality is naturally in a, let's say, you can either say a super fiery way, or just a fiery in general, or it's in a passionate way, or sometimes since the fire element esoterically deals with visions, it may deal with visions. You see what I'm saying? So by nature, if you want to get full grips of this area of your life, you have to use those energies. You can't be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna not deal with it. I'm gonna just choose. I'm gonna just choose to do my energies in this way, or I'm gonna just choose to do my energies in that way. No, if whatever house is empty, let's say in this particular instance, your eighth house, you have to use whatever sign that it is, that element that it is. You have to use that elemental energy by nature. So, like I said, Aries deals with what? Fire, vision, passion. You have to use that. And by you using that, since it's empty, it'll still take time, but over time, it'll get better because you're using that energy in the right way that it's supposed to be used. And you're building. Emptiness just means that something is not fully built or developed yet. So it's almost like saying you're premature in that area, which means that anybody that has any empty house, not just eighth, I'm just using eighth because this video is about the eighth house specifically, but any house that's empty, by nature, it's going to be easier for others that do have energy in their houses to take advantage of you in that house. And it's going to be easier for things in general, whether it got energy or not, to take advantage of you because you lack energy in that house. You see what I'm saying? So you're always going to be way much more susceptible to being taken advantage of in that house. But the more you put your own elements in their house, that element is, whether you subconsciously doing it or consciously doing it, and you take time. So say it's in Aries again. You take time towards building you're building your sexuality using vision. You take the time to vision. You see what I'm saying? Your sexuality. You take the time to be passionate about your sexuality. Um, you using it in a fiery way. The more you put energy into that, the more it'll actually benefit you, and you'll start building that orb of understanding. You see what I'm saying? And you'll build that orb to have more control in it and have your own influence in the house. A lot of people that have empty eighth houses, you may either have a hard time getting, you know what I'm saying, sexual experiences in your life, or you may be easily more so taken advantage of. So you have to be aware of these things. You may be like, man, why is it that people, I've got taken advantage of in the past, or it's so easier for me, or I have a hard time controlling your sexual energies. You're always gonna have a harder time controlling something if you don't have planets in that house and it's empty. So specifically talking about the eighth house, it's going to be a lot more harder for you in general to control your energies because as you can see, your power and control is not there. It's like you don't have that much influence in it. Now let's use another one. Let's say your eighth house is in, let's say let's say water, right? It's in like a water element. Like say your eighth house is either Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Then that means that if your eighth house is empty but it's in the water sign, you have to use that water energy, meaning you have to deal with things that either deal with going within, because water a lot of times taps you automatically to the yin realm and going within. That's water, that's emotions. So you have to deal with things like vibrations, you have to go within. Now, the specific modality does matter because your eighth house being in the Cancer versus being in the Pisces is going to be a little bit different. But the water in general is still aiming towards within. So it's going to have to be still, you have to use your within energies. See, if it's Cancer, you may use more emotions and feelings than anything and have to use and rectify your emotions and feelings to gain power and control and control of your sexuality with an empty eighth house in Cancer. You're gonna have to use emotions and feelings, right? Now, if it's in Pisces, you're still gonna have to go within. But Pisces is a little bit more so geared towards emotions and feelings too, because it's water, but it's geared more so towards things like creativity, uh, fantasy. You see what I'm saying? Like the imaginatory realm. So it's still a part of that fluid too. It's still vibration, still water too. It's just using that water to paint the picture. You see what I'm saying? It's like using that water, aka using that emotions and feelings to paint a vivid image. Using that emotion and feelings to fantasize by feeling it. Using that emotion and feelings to create something or to have an imagination about it. So it's pairing the emotion, the creativity, the fantasy with the emotions, or using the emotions to create those things off of that vibration in the first place. I hope you can understand what I'm saying if you're spiritually inclined. But it'll come to you eventually anyway, you know what I mean? But basically that's the best way I can say it. So the the element in general, you have to use that element. But also, yes, the modality does matter too. Meaning water is water, you're still gonna use the water energy, but the different modality meaning, okay, is it Pisces, is it Cancer, is it Scorpio, is gonna be a little bit more deeper. You see what I'm saying? I mean different. You know what I'm saying? So knowing the particular element that it's in means everything because I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end this video out here, right? I'm gonna end it out here. I'm gonna try to say it as clear as I can. The best way I can say it is like this. If you're dealing with an empty eighth house, right, and your eighth house deals with one of those things of sexuality, right? If your eighth house is empty by nature, since it's empty, that means it's almost like there's no energy in the house. So you're gonna have a harder time controlling. I feel like feeling like you have power and control in that house, right? So it's gonna be easier for you to get taken advantage of, and it's gonna be harder for you to control your sexual energies in general, right? By nature, just because it's empty. Now, learning how to deal with it the best way you can, even though it's empty, no matter what, you have to use the energy that your eighth house is. Even though it's empty, you may not have planets and signs in it, but it's still a particular sign that your eighth house is in. So you have to use that particular sign. You see what I'm saying? And that's the best way I can say it. You have to use that particular sign. You see what I'm saying? In order to rectify um, your energy is the best way that you can. So, like I say again, if you're talking, say, how the best way I can say it? Let's use Libra, right? So Libra is of the air element. So if you have an eighth house in Libra, right? Yo, shout out Jaden Ramirez. Shout out Jaden Ramirez. you got any questions, bro, you could drop them in the chat. I'm not gonna be here too much longer, but I want to just rectify this and break this down real quick. So Libra, right? Eighth house is in Libra. That's an air element. So we know that you have an empty eighth house. If it's in Libra, you need to utilize, what does the air element deal with esoterically? Thinking, analyzing, also communication, relating. So you, by default, if you're going to have control of your sexuality and not be easily taken advantage of or have more power and control in that area of your life, you're going to have to use the Libra energy, which deals with communication, relating. So find people that you can either communicate your sexuality to, relate your sexuality to, whether it's a sexual guru. If you don't have nobody available that you can talk to that's on your that can make you feel comfortable talking about it, you can find a guru that is a sexual teacher or a tantric teacher, or find things online, people that you can talk to. But it's gonna deal with the communicating element or thinking and analyzing element in general. If let's say your eighth house is, and this last one I'm gonna do, say your eighth house is in like let's say it's in the earth element. Let's say it's like Taurus or Capricorn. So we know by default, if you have a empty eighth house, but your eighth house is in Taurus or Capricorn or any earth element in general, we know it's going to deal with practicality. So the only way you're going to ever gain full control of your sexuality is by utilizing the earth element. You can't be out here just imagining. You see what I'm saying? Imagining won't work for you. That won't help you in your sexual area. It won't help you at all because that's not what your natural energies are in with your chart. So you don't need to be worried about emotions and feelings and the way you feel and feeling the vibe of nothing. None of that. Since it's in Earth, the only thing you need to be worried about is physical things, whether it's physical exercise that you can do to help you feel like you releasing these sexual energies. Um, Finding physical exercises that you can do that deal with sexuality, whether it's physical exercises, you see what I'm saying, that help you in that make you feel good in that area. Let's see. Um, what's a better way to put it? Any physical activity in general that does with sexuality, these things will help you when it comes to your eighth house because it'll be in the earth element, whether it's Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. You see what I'm saying? But so you're not gonna pay attention to how I feel or the vibes or going within and meditating on it or going within and feeling my emotions and feelings or going within and imagining or going within and trying to see the vision of it. No, that's for if you have your eighth house in a fire sign. Then okay, I'm gonna worry about the imagination and the vision. The water signs, okay, I'm gonna worry about the emotions and feelings. Now Pisces in the water sign is a little bit different because Pisces has both. Pisces is emotions and feelings, but it's like using your emotions and feelings to paint a picture. So Pisces kind of does already deal with imagination a little bit too. So that's the only sign. See, I deal with eighth house in Pisces, and I can tell you that's one of the hardest. That's one of the harder signs to control because it's got both elements in it. It's not just like Cancer, which is powerful, but it's mainly just emotions and feelings and vibrations. Okay, I could just sit down and meditate and feel my sexual energies, and that'll help build it. No, Pisces is different. You utilize your emotions and feelings too, but you want to utilize your creativity. So it's still going within. You want to sit back and imagine your sexuality. You want to sit back and have, you know what I'm saying, sexual fantasies. You want to go within you and add some creativity to it, or imagination to your sexual energies due to it being Pisces. So that's the only time when it's, you know what I'm saying, when it's a little bit of both. But um overall, if you like just a Scorpio or a Cancer, then all you have to do is really just worry about just the emotions and feelings itself. You see what I'm saying? Pisces is just a little bit different because you gotta understand too. Here's the thing: Pisces sits right next to Aries by nature. Remember, when once you right behind April, aka that's Aries season, right? Right behind April, Aries season is March, Pisces season, right? So by nature they're neck and neck, which you can kind of see why Pisces is like, it's like half water. It's almost got like a little bit of fire to it too, if you can see what I'm saying. And that makes sense because it neighbors with Aries, which is the initiate of the fire sign. But with that being said, I'm gonna end this video out. I love all y'all. Appreciate you for all the people that paying attention. Appreciate you for the people that may not be here but may be seeing this video later. And I hope that this helped you the best way that I could. And if you ever have any questions in particular that you want answered, you can drop them in the comments or just ask me in general because I'll be sure to get back with you. I love you all. Peace.